Welcome on in and gather round, gang. It's time for some more Total War Warhammer 3. We are here for another campaign, this time one that's going to be a little bit shorter and more edited, where we are going to go for a challenge run with Gorbad. Why Gorbad, you ask? Because he has all sorts of goofy fun you can have with the plans mechanics, just empowering the different myriad greenskin troops, where some are not really very good at all. They're just kind of there to fill in your roster and be chaff. Gorbad can make them quite a bit better. So for his run, we are going to go for a bit of a split strategy. So we had a members-only poll. Thank you to all that voted in that, and then all continue to be members as well. You all are fantastic. The vote was close, with at least 2 duels to the death being thrown down the gauntlet during voting. It was a crazy experience, and it's been quite a while. So that vote was a long time ago, but I have not forgotten. Unlike the Vlad campaign, which has been lost to the void, this one shall come to fruition, so welcome all. We are going to be going for a split style of, like I said, a strategy here, where we are going to be making some Savage Orc special ops, where we're going to be combining unspottable, devastating flanker, extra speed, and ward save to make nearly invincible and invisible Cockney mushrooms that are coming through your chimney to beat you down. And then secondly, we're going to have a spicy squigs. So you can make your squigs flammable, they get stronger in groups. You can give all of our missiles fire, basically fire attacks, and then we're going to pack as many lava units as we can at each army, so it's going to be a spicy, bouncy meatball that's going to eat everything on the field. So we'll either have one or the other strategy. That way we have a kind of a combo, and it's not just a one flavor style campaign there. So without further ado, let's get to what makes Gorbad special. His starting army is fairly decent, but it's his faction effects where he truly shines. The plan is going to allow us to take what would normally be fairly decent units in your orc roster and boost them into the moon, which I can't wait. We can improve rewards from completing wars, more income from raising settlements, and extra, or at least a reduction rather, to global recruitment durations, so we can stay on the field and recruit those units much faster and keep fighting. His lord effects allow his troops to be cheaper, and that's the best part about Gorbad. His wall, I believe, also lasts twice as long as your normal wall, which is great. You can just keep beating the smack out of fools. For Gorbad's campaign, we can't have anything but the legendary, and the very hard. We're going to keep our AI stats modifier on neutral, because I don't like more cheats than they deserve. But with that out of the way, let's get to Operation Ghost Mushroom.
In the fires of battle, a mighty war boss was forged. One of guile and cunning, where others know only brutality. No force can best this green tide. The annihilator of armies, destroyer of empires. Gorbad Ironclaw now claims his place as the greatest of all war bosses.
Get ready for proper mayhem, lads. More claws itching for some mangling.
And some mangling we shall do. So we need, as each time we go up one of these level milestones, we will not only unlock an extra slot, each of the tactics will last longer to a point where they are permanently active. Where are you at here? Following the plan. The third tier here at rank 30, you get 2 slots, of course, we've already got those, and then infinite duration, so we can keep our plans going as long as we want. If we need more plans, we just gotta fight battles, which is not too much to ask, truth be told. We're orcs after all, so it's just doing what we want. We grab our wizard, throw him into Gorbad, and send Gorbad to snap this poor little goblin's neck. Light him up. Let's our squigs be flammable, which is not great off the bat from the beginning here. We're going to just play like a normal orc army. And then we shall build up the squig force to become truly a force to reckon with. We can't really get any savage orcs until we claim some territory over in the Badlands, so until then, we are going for spicy squig meatballs. We grab the growth building in Black Crag, grab Gorbad, and send him straight into the fight after picking up Gorbad's boys. A little bit of upkeep reduction for orc boys and more boy units, which we have quite a few of here. That's quite nice. And then Gorbad's boys gives them all a little bit more oomph in battle as well as more melee attack. So it's some good old steroids for your mushroom boys. We equip.
It's called tactics, boys.
He knows. Tactics, onward to snap some necks. Hello. We's gonna have to show these scabby-eyed gits who the real boss is. Ain't that right, boys?
Listen,
Give him a volley.
lads. You fight, you stick to the plan, and you win. Questions? No questions. Whoa!
Whoa! You don't need questions. You fight, you win, you stick to the plan. You spear as many of the short little runty gobbos as you can with ballistas from afar. Gaze of Morkin vaporizes a few squigs, who then also get a pin cushioning from our ballista teams. They're just kind of sadly waddling in. It's great. Squigs will be the main target for our ballista until the giant gets closer, and then we will switch targets. Not the most withering of missile fire. They've got themselves a giant trundling on in, doing his best to dodge. Oh, one planks off the side of his head. Glory accurate, I'm pretty sure this giant's due. Here come the boys, though. Get crumpin', boys. Send the squigs in for a nice flank into the gobbos. They should blend through there in no time. And our boar boys rip around for a flank, dodging friendly fire from the ballistas. The boar banners shall feast well this day. Opposing giant is wreaking a bit of havoc, smacking Gorbat around. Gorbat is a fantastic commander and a very decent fighter. Oh, off with your head. But he also is... he's not the best. He's more of a commander than anything. Getting hit with a full-on club the size of a rather sizable tree is not a good thing. Now the giant's surrounded by a bunch of angry shrooms determined to drag him down and spill his outsides to the... or his insides to the outside. That's a giant running for the hills. Look of fear in his eyes. Something the rest of the scabby-eyed tribe shall feel soon enough. We's crumped him lesser orcs right. We'll also pick up a Lichbone pendant and probably hand it over to our ballista for the time being. That way they can cut right through any annoying resistances and just hit them with bolts. Well done, bolt throwers. Do we just crump these idiots? Oh, I think we do. Smush 'em right. Well, big thinking, since we're gonna have orcs all over the place, let's make them eager to fight. Extra melee attack, extra leadership, keeps them in a little bit longer, and then we'll probably turn for tough fodder into go faster and go bigger for both movement and growth. Really important.
I got some ideas. Cool, man.
Some ideas. We'll go ahead and pick up Route Marcher, and we'll snag the Gaze of Mort to make that a wee bit cheaper. Fairly fantastic spell for sniping lords. We bring down the Iron Rock next. Before we do rush in, though, let's go ahead and pick up a little bit of a better shields for our boys. They's dropping these padded shields if it gets too scary, though. Time to smash some more scabby eye heads. Just keep your hands away from their eye bits, because that's gross. You don't want to be smashing your way through eye crusts. Nasty. Ballistas come flying in fairly ineffectively. Your ballista teams are just not great unless you have, I'd say, 4 of them, and they're fairly elite. Then they'll actually start landing hits and dealing a fair bit of damage. Used to be the Chaos Dwarfs with their doom stacks of Hobgoblin ballista teams. They don't seem like they'd be a threat. Spear boys crashing. But the spears are the size of the wolf itself. The wolf's going nowhere. The rest of the boys moving into block. the approaching army, while the squigs, boars, and everything get ripping apart everyone on one flank, and we can roll them from there. Gorbad's no newbie, knows how this works. Ballista's switching targets so we don't take out too many of our own. Squigs get caught by the orcs a little bit, but they'll have a little bit of an orc snack on the way through. Tromping goblins should be very easy. It just kicks that one. Any of the goblins not engaged in melee are going to get shot full of arrows. Soften them for whenever they do decide to charge. Our boys rip into the back line there. And like I said, we're trying to wipe out this flank quickly. Some of their archers did come back faster than I expected and start shooting into the back of our poor boys, which is not great. They're not the tankiest of units. Turn and charge into the goblin spears, who take an absolute pounding, but so do the orcs. They both really take a heap of damage there. Score notifications need to be muted, but only halfway professional, so get what you get. Stomp these gobos out, boys! Gorbad and his shaman tearing apart the goblin. Team acting as captain. They're caught between a rock and a very hard place. Paint it red makes it go faster. Yeah, goblins throwing up the white flag all over the place. They get to activate their wall a little bit faster than you, though, even if they have less troops overall that can engage in melee, but that's the way it be. Our orc boys turn and run for the hills and taking a little bit too much damage. From archers, mind you. And the archers get ambushed by a few sport clubs and choppers. This sally of Scabby Eye goes very poorly for them. Another decisive victory, but the boys are starting to take some damage, so we probably need to get the healing mushrooms on it. Plus, these Vigans really stayed out of the fight a little bit too long. That's just the way it be. I think we shall loot and occupy for the replenishment, good grief. Iron Rock secured, now we just have to take out Dwazbag and Duck Karaz. We shall pick up some squigs. We can build up a whole army really quickly, good grief. So let's grab a couple of squigs through, actually let's see which the cheapest. Getting one more orc boy with spears is cheap. 2 more orc boys here, and then 3 squigs. Oh, that's a whole army, that is. Since we're going to be able to build up squigs first, let's go ahead and snag Skunk the War Boss. He's extra confident, Skunk is.
You need help? Alright.
Get to raid and build up some scrap.
What now?
Inspiring presence for the Gorbad.
Hail to power!
And let's pick up Fists of Gork for the Shaman. Because Gorbad's no fool and knows how important diplomacy is, we're going to pick up a non-aggression pact and join Tretch's war with the Moonhowlers, the filthy, disgraceful Moonhowlers. Werewolves in the Greenskin forces. Not today. Now we consider that a fairly decent first turn. From Iron Rock, we've got ourselves the pile of shiny stuff. I say we destroy this for more growth. Turn 2, and we have a very uniquely scary army. It almost feels like we're playing as one of the AI factions. Hello there, Spite. Would you like to meet my horde of orcs?
Not in the plan. That's the plan.
And we almost forgot to equip the most important plan here, our first that is probably going to stay on cooldown for the entire campaign, or at least for any army that is running squigs. And that is Erd Mentality. You get to build up to 20 melee defense and 20% ward save, as well as getting Unbreakable, with each squig herd that is in the area. This used to be up to 50% and 50 melee defense. This was ridiculously potent. They had to dial it back a little bit, but still, this is quite the scary tactic. So we're gonna add this plan on in, switch it.
Here's what you're gonna do.
One squig's gonna be murdered, but a group of them. That's a bloodbath. And now, we've got some fairly defensive squigs that are unbreakable. We can throw them right into the thick of things. Now we get to crunching skunk. That's what skunks are, guys, isn't it? We get to breaking spites back once again. Right, didn't use gitz. Now we got a proper challenge from the leader of the Scabby-Eyed tribe. Still rocking mostly goblins, so this is not going to go well for him. Since all of the mirror matches, the orcs, they are a little bit brutal just because they get to their wall first, even if you have more melee troops than they do. They get to build up their wall faster than you do. We have a minute 27 before our goblin arrives, and the strategy is to just draw them across the bridge and then send in the squigs. We'll see how well that goes. Squigs easily are going to outclass the likes of these wolf riders or even the wolf chariots. But the idea is we've got to draw them in a little bit closer, because our squigs are not as fast as either of those units. They're just bouncing mushrooms, after all. First ballista shots are away, spearing a few goblins. As they tend to. It's a waste of their ammunition, though, so we won't have them do that for very long. Unless they get lucky. Now, they're missing a majority of the shots. Sending chariots way wide, the AI loves to flank, so we're going to send a shaman and a unit of spear orcs to deal with that. As the goblins come swarming across the bridge here. We also have a couple of other units moving with the wolf riders to engage our squigs. We're going to pull the squigs back. And the boar boys over to fight as kind of one big cavalry blob. Warband and the boys wait on the land bridge for our approaching enemies. And now it's time to get cropping. Ogre the Mangler. Mangles 4 or 5 goblins in a single swing, and then the boys arrive. Spear goblins are going to stand absolutely no chance. Got absolutely flattened over there. Wolf chariots being annoying. We're going to send our shaman back over towards the center when possible. The good old wolf riders have charged into our herd of squigs and are getting ripped apart. Our good old squig herd kicked in. We've got all 20, or no, we've got 12. So how can we see how much that's filled up? Third mentality with 4 units, you get up to 60%, so 12% ward save, 12 melee defense, and unbreakable. Doing a pretty good job here, too. Poor boys have pushed through the center, trying to get into the archers that are now fleeing for their lives. Fists of Gork has gone down on them to give them a little bit more melee attack. Rip through that line of goblins. They weren't attacking them, so no damage, just run them over. Those choppers to work. Got some more spear goblins. We've actually found that the spear goblins are a fairly decent counter to your orc boar boys, just because the boar boys don't defend themselves very well and they take quite a bit of damage. One wiggly blast of baby orc magic takes out a few of our biggins. See, the blob is mostly gobos. We're having a field day. Our squigs are working their way around the outside, but as I discover here in this battle, they are just a little bit slow. So, and these two units get caught up deciding whether to go around the rocks, so they waste a lot of time, and we lose more units than we otherwise would have. There's the first wall for our enemy. We get to activate as well. Warband's wall not being any more powerful than the other factions, but it just lasts a lot longer. We're crumping them proper, but that scrum is lasting a little bit there. There goes their second wall. They've got 2 of them before even got 1. The last then kills a few more of our spear orcs. Definitely a crafty little gobbo we're fighting. Squigs, though, have arrived to fill their belly with goblin flesh. And those goblin archers that have been a nuisance for so long meet their end in a whirlwind of blood and teeth. Oh, that one. Two of them going straight down the gullet. Yeah, I'm telling you, they're having themselves a goblin feast. They've been having to run around so much. They're hungry now. Goblins break and run for the hills, seeing their fellows be both cut in half and swallowed whole by squigs. That's another glorious victory for Gorbat.
The best orc war boss around. Whoa!
Another propa scrap. We lost 196, no problem. It was all in the orcs where it belongs instead of being with the squigs.
Show them a proper.
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this.
Spite was slain, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is just execute him. That's right. We don't care about confederating the rest of that faction, not yet. We're gonna keep beating down on more greenskins. We might get declared upon by the Dawi, but any of the territory they take over here really doesn't matter. Bragg Wazbag, for example, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop in the raiding stashes. Give us some more post-battle loot. Repair that for 400 is nice and cheap, and then we recruit more units.
It's what you be doing.
It's what you'll be doing. Good old squig herder, nice and cheap. So let's grab a few more of you. We've got 6 total. I think 6 squigs are more than enough. We'll go ahead and pick up another set of orc boys in the meantime.
I'm the best.
Skunk, you come on through. And you also can start recruiting in some squigs. Most excellent. At Iron Rock, we shall put in growth building. We need more idols. For Gorbat himself, the end plan is going to have him being with some of the Savage Orc special ops, so we'll give him boys, giving our Orc infantry more weapon strength and melee attack. And then reload time reduction and missiles damage if they are error boys.
Great green flows.
Right, green. Let's grab the power of the wall to build up our reserves faster, and good old Skunk will give inspiring presence. And because once again, it's best to keep the green skin, or the Dawi off our backs for at least as long as we can, we'll offer to join the Stunties war against the Bloody Spears.
We'll honor.
With the completion of Eager to Fight, we will grab Tough Fodder to make our goblins a little bit tougher as well. We don't really have any goblins at the moment, which makes me more keen on going for heavy metal, actually. We're gonna pick up Tough Fodder. It'll be important later on.
Some changes round here.
Skunk here is not going to have orc boys. He's going to have mostly gobbos. We'll pick up a couple of 78 no matter what. Many troops as Skunk can.
Yeah.
Gorbat's gonna raid in Darkland for us to attack this settlement next turn. Ratgash recruiting up some more troops while he can. You're definitely going to need them. We get the Gorbat's boys plan back active. We have the Erd mentality as well. We'll have this one deactivated on the end of the turn. But we'll just march into Darkland. Gives us a Pyrrhic. This is even a smaller battle than we fought before, so I foresee no problems. A swift karate chop to the neck, and this settlement's mine. I think we continue to loot and occupy for the extra replenishment. And our war piggy has been found. Narla. We thought we'd lost you. Rika, you've got the biggest war. Channel that power in your chanting. I'm thinking we'll snag a secondary gaze of Mork, and then for Gorbat himself, making the boys even stronger is the way.
Proper stuff, that is.
Yeah, we have to 38 weapon strength, that's proper. Then we'll pick up the old goblin camp to snag some more archers. If you remove one of the plans right before the turn ends, when it goes on cooldown, it's going to be for this turn, so as soon as we end the turn, we can pop on the Erd mentality again next turn. A little bit cheesy. We've got some tougher gobbos, throw them some iron scraps to take a better— oh, maybe they're not actually tougher, they just have— they're just covered in an armor now. Onward to slaughtering the rats hiding over here in Stone Mine Tower. We get back to raiding, boys. Whoa!
And we'll all get
Meanwhile, Skunk, our secondary force, is going to go ahead and go into march stance,
I suppose I'm
depending on where we can get the furthest, and sprint back over towards our main settlements here just to
I'm gonna enjoy
beat down the rebellion when it shows up. We'll go ahead and pick up Big Boss business into Go Faster, then Go Bigger, and we get back to buffing up
Technology
our
is the
troops.
future, apparently.
The Scabby-Eyed tribe re-emerges, which honestly is entirely fine, because we get to beat these guys down for more experience. You'd think that's a problem, but for the Greenskins, this is just more lads to crump.
Smash the world. What next?
So we'll come on over to Iron Rock,
Getting out.
get rid of the Erd mentality here,
Getting it done.
and then pick up a few more goblins. Goblins and some goblin archers. Actually, let's go. You all know that we have no choice. Goblins with the sword and board it is. That is nothing but a bunch of Skaven slaves, but we're not done. We're going to attack Stone Mine Tower directly.
Moving.
Where Clan Verms has been revealed. We'll cancel the move just real quick. Looks like no one's in the tower, but we can drag all three of these into a fight. And then we just have good old Acorm here without any settlements whatsoever, which is how we are going to prefer to fight this. You may just choose to run away from us, but once again, we're Greenskins. I'm happy to chase you around and crump you wherever you might run to.
Boys. That's the jazz.
Ode mentality back up and running, and we'll have ourselves a fight at the Stone Mine Tower. They're currently fighting the Teeth Snatchers. Well, we might as well be a clever lad and make some money.
Mess with me. What's your
Join you with
message?
Clan Verms, and you give me some cash. Making friends all over the place.
Gonna grind ya under the boot.
Red makes it go faster. And here comes an army of the stinking rays. We've got plenty of heads to crop today, boys. Alright, here's our strategy. We've got all the orcs between these two, like, coral eruptions. They're not, I guess they are geysers that have been built up over time, which is kind of cool. So they've got the geysers and then just waves of squigs. I realized very quickly that squigs, are just better than clan rats in every way. So, clan rats and Skaven slaves are on the menu for today. Also wearing red, though, so they want their rats to go quick. Well, unfortunately for the horn rats chosen, or children, don't think it works that way. Several rats go down under the first hail of ballista bolts. That's actually quite a few kills. Well done, ballistas. They become an actual threat once they get some veterancy and some accuracy. It just takes some time. The squig herd comes bouncing in. We don't want to get caught up in the middle of this army, so we're going to avoid that where possible. Basically, the squigs fighting as a blob are capable of ripping apart any of these Skaven without too much of a problem. And if they rampage, you're not trapping the squigs with you. You're trapped now with them. And I don't have to micro them anymore. Oh yeah, we got our big piggy. Cool bad riding around on his biggest and baddest. Yeah, the rest of the squigs arrive and you can just see the health bars being evaporated. We're losing some as well, because squigs are very low armor. They're having a great time here, just ripping apart these clan rats. The rest of our orc boys are also now engaged with squads of clan rats, which again isn't a fight. In fact, if we look at our stats here, 28-26 on the orc boys. And clan rats with shields actually have 30 defense. That's more than I thought. It's more of an even battle than I had initially planned on it being. However, the rats are already turning and running with half of their unit gone, so maybe it's not so much of an even fight at all. Even more squigs join the pile. Gorbad leading his glorious herd into battle against the filthy Skaven slaves. These secondary armies here as well, we've got ourselves an assassin and a chieftain. They are arriving but a little bit too late to actually assist, as most of the rats have already been crumped by 7-foot-tall ripped mushrooms. Fists of Gork active as we slam into the next squad of escaped slave slings. Bones will break, and the Musk of Fear is probably just all over the battlefield by now. Yeah, no, now the Orc Tide has to just slam into the two leaders that have so unfortunately made it to this fight. Oh, I guess there's three. They've got two chieftains. Eagerly charging into the fight, actually with different weapons too. Or at least holding their weapon differently. Sass is gonna hang back, throw some shurikens. Yeah, one away. Looks like this orc here was the one that caught the unfortunate blade, although that's just one orc, so good luck, brother. Chieftains charge into the fray. Not even able to slay an orc with the first swing. That's unfortunate. The boys soon file in, and no matter how elite you are as a rat, you will have a limit on the number of 7-foot-tall mushrooms you're able to battle. Oh, also, the teeth. The teeth arrive. Until these rats start getting access to some of their guns and artillery, they are never going to be much of a threat for orcs. Sad day to be escaping. Then we'll go ahead and pick up Diff from below for emergency escapes. Also, let's pick up a Brain Burster to get rid of big blobs of baddies. Especially the unarmored Skaven here. Korm is going to come back in and attack us at Stone Mine, and he has nothing but slaves. What a shame. Gotta recruit scarier troops, that's all I'm gonna say. Oh, and while everyone was else, and on the next turn, while everyone else was out practicing the art of, and on the next turn, while everyone else was out partying, Steve was studying the way of the crop, and he gets some bonus experience, which is pretty nice. Skunk, I realize we're gonna make you our Kevin. Kevin, Small. Kevin and the Squig Herder as well. The rats have gone to ground as we kind of expected. Let's jump outside of the Stone Mine Tower and go to our raiding camp. If we go between, that way if they attack Dark Corrals or the Stone Mine Tower, we can hit them either way. Then at Black Crag, we're going to use a bit of our cash. We definitely need walls. Not even a question. Totem pole so that everyone knows we are the biggest and best. Horse's tent or the shaman's hut. Now we obviously go for the squig caves. What do you mean? Get us some squigs. And then we'll send wee little Kevin with the Erd mentality on to deal with Baragda Wazbag once again. Ratgash is hiding in here. We shouldn't have to fight this one directly, but we'll see. Pyrrhic victory. Oh man, night goblins are a threat. Oh, or maybe not. Not so threatening at all. We shall go ahead and just loot and occupy. If the Dawi decide to attack us now, so be it. Nothing we can do about that anyway. Kevin earns himself a few more troops, and then we'll also go ahead and pick up a point into riders for our squigs to make them faster. Dastardly Skaven just went and took out the Bitterstone Mine while I wasn't paying attention. Smart. Let's get pursuing.
Them snotlings is tired.
Tim Snotlings is tired. Since Iron Rock isn't having any more control issues, we're just gonna keep bothering the other greenskins here.
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this.
Yep, get raiding, but stay as far away from the Dawi as possible, and then we'll go into Global and pick up even more squigs. Over at Cut Drawn, we're gonna pick up yet another Idols building for some more growth. And then also the Fighting Pit, so we can get ourselves a Black Orc Big Boss and better boys, even though the boys aren't necessarily our focus here. On the next turn, we'll go ahead and pour some grease on our squigs, and hand the goblins some fire arrows, and we'll march on Dakharaz. Wouldn't be surprised if Baronoth then decides to attack us. Another Pyrrhic. Definitely not. What do you mean the auto-resolve has less brain cells than a herd of squigs? We got a decisive victory. Who would have guessed? Let's go ahead and... I mean, every time we're looting and occupying, we are having another rebellion rise up, which honestly just means more cash. And it means better relations with the Dawi, too. If he decides to attack Kevin, we are in all the trouble. Let's go ahead and unequip Herd Mentality so we can grab it back next turn. In terms of skill points, you've got, what, one more? Not bad, not bad. Let's give you Riders. More speed and charge bonus for those squigs. They're up to 65 speeds. They're basically just a heavy cavalry. And 52 charge bonus, which is honestly incredible. Gorbad then can march on the Bitterstone Mine, full of Skaven. Oh, and they actually have some man-eater pistols too. Smart. These are fantastic units. Problem is, we have Ballista, and Ballista have better range. Let's encircle, and then we can just go ahead and pop in. Honestly, I would say light them up is perfect here. More grease on some squigs and then let them loose. Here we come. With an auto-resolve. Get wrecked, losers. Loot occupy for 6% replenishment, and that should be the end of Clan Verms. Unless they have... Oh, you rascals.
Plan scheme here is discordant.
Alright, so we definitely need to converge our squigs together. And then we can even hire the help of these ogre bulls with dual weapons.
Joined Iron Claws. That's some big shoes.
That's some big shoes. And if a core wants to fight here next turn, he is going to get flattened. Because now we've got some extra large friends. And man, if you think about it, a 1v1 between a Skaven and an ogre is not even... It's not even a fight. Had Queek Headtaker run into Greasus, that'd have been over even faster than against Thorgrim. Oh, next big thinking's gonna be some crit crafting so we can upgrade our squigs.
Technology's the future, apparently.
What do you mean, apparently? Let's get us a new hero here. We've got Dusty. Thinking Dusty the Discipline's a good idea. 2 more leadership, 2 more melee attack. Tactician's pretty solid too. Let's go ahead and pick up the Dusty one. We get Death from Below on Gorbad and Steve. We want to keep working our way towards Foot of Gork. It is a brutal spell, so we'll grab an extra point into Fists of Gork. The poor unfortunate Skaven can learn another lesson soon. Oh, that's funny. The Skaven grabbed some Ogre Bowls too. Didn't do you much good, did it? Get Scabby Eye Rebel problems, not much of a problem. Excuse me, Boltfar, what are you doing?
You are me.
I mean, fair enough. Short, sweet, and to the point.
What you want?
Kevin, you go back towards Baragdawaz, but oh, hang on now. How did Iron Rock get damaged? We have some, settlement looted, settlement lost, and... Gork's Zoggin Foot. A shaman has been drinking too much grog, and while hammered, he accidentally summoned the Foot of Gork, which promptly trampled all over the encampment. Just a big bouncing foot. So I'd rather us not lose the Iron Rock.
I suppose I might help.
Which means we've got to come over here and just get in their way.
On the way. Zook right off.
Don't think it's gonna work. Well, that'll be really annoying if they go after Iron Rock. It's thankfully not a very highly upgraded settlement, and I'm very glad I didn't. Take Black Crag to tier 3, we've got ourselves a Greenskin encampment, and Dusty, you come on around the corner to help out. Night Gubbo, big boss. He's big thinking, let's go ahead and go faster, that way we can get back to going bigger. We're gonna merge some of the boys together. Merge a little bit more there. We've got 2 free slots. Can we use our regiments or anything? Not just quite. Not quite yet. What we're going to do is recruit in a few more. So we've got 5 squigs. I would like... combine up these squigs as well. Get 1 more, so we're back up to 5. And then 1 more orc boy. We'll jump into the plans and switch Gorbad's boys for Erd Mentality.
Use lot, work together.
Exactly. And then we will go ahead and declare war on Ekrend here next turn. It's not going to be a very major war, but the goal of conquering Badlands positions so we can get some Savage Orcs is the main point. Okay, then surrounded the Rebellion at Barag-de-Wazbag. We'll just go ahead and give this one to Otto. It's going to hurt quite a few of our goblins here, but we fought that one enough. That's brutal. You think the Outer Resolve would kind of remember the way you fight, at least a bit. Scabby Eye is gone again, and it's going to take us more than one turn to replenish that, which is rather frustrating. We'll just combine. In fact, let's do quite a bit of merging here. Yoink all the troops together, then we can go ahead and just recruit some more. In fact, let's get our first Mangler Squigs, no matter how expensive those guys might be. Then we shall go ahead and call to war against Ekrend. So he's warred against the boys. We're gonna go ahead and dedicate this one to Gort for more weapon strength. And then we're gonna put down a Blout Feastmaster here first. Can we still recruit? You can still grab Mercenary from him. Let's just get some normal Ogre Bulls, cheap, and we can kick them out if we need to. Should have grabbed them before we declared Wa, but that's fine. Blout is under attack. Orcs versus Ogres. This one should actually be a fairly fun fight. Well, it's a big bunch of Ogres, me lord. We'll see how well they do. Ogres are actually fairly threatening in terms of what we are fielding here. Squigs aren't really going to do much to the Ogres themselves, but to these poor unfortunate Noblars. That's just a feast. That's a feast for Squigs. And if we get the Squigs in behind the Ogres, they'll actually probably do some pretty decent damage. Ogres being not very heavily armored means all the Squigs armor piercing isn't really the most effective. But that's just the way it's going to be sometimes. We definitely want our reinforcements here before anything else. We're going to bring the Ogres in, and we're going to have... The idea is to basically just make a legion of Orcs and force the Ogres to fight for a while. If Ogres are able to charge around and do what they want, bluster around and smash in with their gut plates and their clubs, you're going to have a bad time. But if they just sit in one spot and try to trade in a one-on-one with Orcs, they're going to lose every single time. Shaman going for a snipe. Oh, we see you back there, buddy. Gaze of Mork, away! It's in his nipples. Run! That wasn't bad damage. Overcast Gaze of Mork. Gaze of Mork really, really good at dealing with ogres or any just large targets in general, and it also does a fair chunk of damage to smaller targets. Magical missiles are performing very well in Warhammer 3 and have since the pretty much beginning. They changed the tracking on it, where instead of just hitting one target, they will go after multiple. At the moment, we're just reorganizing our own lines here and blasting their Ogre Tyrant with more Gazes of Mork. And it seems like that's going to get them active. Our reinforcements are here too, so that's probably part to do with it. They're just going for one extremely long line to try to overwhelm us. The problem with this line is that all of the Noblars are in one section, where they should be up front here, screening for the Ogres. If our Orcs were tired by the time they had to fight the Ogres, we're gonna struggle a little bit more. As it stands, though, we just have some very cagey, chunky boys trying to find a way in that doesn't involve getting chopped in half. They say get ready to bite off a few heads. They're staying away from our shaman at this point, which is fairly amusing. Gaze of Mork anyway. Kills one Ogre Bull, so I would say it's not worth it as opposed to just blasting their Tyrant. We're gonna fall back. Eager though they may be, there's no chance of them catching our boars there. Our own wall force arrives. We've got this lovely Wyvern that uses a Terror Bomb. And the Squigs are working their best to try to draw the Saber Husks on over, but as you can see, they're not very fast. We have to turn and commit. Battle Cats versus Battle Mushrooms, who shall win? Fairly even trade until the extra mushrooms arrive. Then it ceases to be pretty quickly. The mushrooms are hungry. Meanwhile, as the Squigs are mauling the cats, the ballistas are starting to take out Ogre Bulls. As soon as that Tyrant gets into range, we're going to focus it killing them. But the ballistas are great for killing ogres. They're shooting the tribe. Using their traitor tribesmen to take out this flank with the orc. Or boys, and we'll send the wyvern in after any of the weakened squad of ogres. Gorbad clashes in. We have an excellent duel of front now. Combination of ogre bulls and boar boys, and then the wyvern. He says hello as well. And the fight begins. Propa. Orcs versus ogres. Battle of attrition that we shall win every single time. Over on our other flank, we've got some ogres moving in to support our squigs, who are locked into a brutal fight with ogre bulls. Now it's an ogre duel. Squigs ward save doing a very good job of keeping them alive as well. Like I said, them fighting Noblars is not a fight. Ogres charge back in. They get a little bit more damage, but we've got our own dual bulls doing pretty solid work. Got a cousin murder going on there with the Noblars being put down pretty brutally. And feasted upon as well. They taste just the same as goblins, maybe a little bit more stringy. Gorbad takes out one further ogre, but it looks to me that this tribe is pretty well on the way out. We got one more charge. A few more orcs bite the dust. Gonna chopper to the gut. It's not a pleasant way to die, so the ogres turn and they run. Ogres in mass do tend to be fairly scary. However, when they're not organized, they're just great big targets is all they are, so we open them up like cans and continue on our journey. The Skull Wand of Kaloth. The Gobbo Shaman Kozgi. Skull Wand sounds awesome, actually. Give me that. Less leadership for everyone in the area. Beautiful. Also, we can discourage enemies and boost. I guess that gives it to one of our units, which is awesome. He's a dodgy geezer. Next, we acquire Gork's Stinky Feet.
Here we go.
It's a relic of aggressive power. And then we'll go ahead and grab probably looter, because we're looting settlements just about every attack instead of sacking and running away. Melee attack during ambushes. We've not got any of these yet, so let's just go ahead and boost up our goblins themselves. Give them a little bit more defense. They definitely need it. Well, our conquest of the Badlands is going quite well. Snorko now has an opportunity to attack Duck Cross or the Stone Mine Tower, but right now, we just don't care. Oh, there's Grizz Guts, too. Do we trust auto-resolve? Probably a bad idea. 153 lost. Let's go ahead and just eat these captives. Well, you can. Can we turn around and hit Grizz Guts? Oh yeah, before they have an opportunity to respond or move away, let's attack them in the underways here. Yeah, the Moon Howlers, that's kind of weak. Let's go ahead and save the skill points for Gorbad, even if Ironheart's pretty alluring. And we'll get ourselves a battle against a gut stabber. Unless he runs, then we're in a lot of trouble. Thankfully, he's not a clever goblin. And we should be able to handle this one without too much trouble here. And this should be the inn for his tribe as well. Man, we'll see. This tribe are weak loons. Think that blue makes them lucky. Well, it might. But we's mad hard. As our squigs run around in circles. Listen, don't worry about it, they're not very well trained. And also, we trusted the auto-resolve one too many times. Moral of the story is, never trust auto-resolve. Our strategy, though, for this battle is going to be similar to our fight against the ogres. They've got quite a few large targets, so we need to kind of blob up, make a legion of orcs, and then make any kind of charge the final charge that unit makes. They slam in, they get surrounded and dragged down. Gorbad can easily, especially Gorbad and, well, the Shaman's a little bit wounded, but Gorbad can easily handle the Great Shaman or even our opposing River Troll Hag. But you'll notice this is my new favorite strategy. You get your Ogre mercenaries that are wounded or otherwise the least valuable, and then you just send them up to absorb magic. It is so effective. They've got huge health pools, they get blasted for a long time, and waste a good majority of the winds of magic the enemy has. We'll actually speed things up, because we do this for quite some time. There's a first Spear Leech. Oh, that doesn't seem like that's very fun. That hurt. Yes, it did. But that's already 18 winds of magic down. There's another 4 or 5, and they just keep casting spells, and the ogres keep hanging in there. Oh, sure, they'll die eventually. But they're mercenaries, they're overpriced, and they're good at just absorbing spells. Do they have any more? See, I happen to know the answer is yes, but they were doing their best job to pretend like they didn't. Here's another cast. They're just not going for any more Spear Leech. Our ballists have advanced enough to start blasting into the spiders, trying to kill as many of them as we can. I felt like we should just use our range advantage, plink away at important targets, and if we lose the Ogre Balls in the process, hey, so be it. Even better if these were Man-Eaters, because they would be even more expensive. But at that point, you really don't want to lose your Man-Eaters, so kind of a tough call. Spiders do chase the bulls off, but they're down to about half health already, which is fantastic. Ballistas keep blasting away. And our hero boys can finish the job. Sending the spiders scurrying for their lives. Meanwhile, the boar boys come charging into our spears. Bold strategy. Not a very good charge. The squigs move in from there. And that's the end of the boar boys. Similar strategy to what we see in the Battle for Winterfell. That's how you lose your cavalry. Show them your war face! Trolls, goblins, and more orcs. We continue to throw more and more orc boys at the trolls to slow them down. What of Gork? He gets cancelled. Wasn't supposed to be cancelled, but it definitely did. Snarling punk wagons come ripping into our flank. Gork reappears. Thank goodness. Just step on some gobos. Evaporating them, killing off the spiders, and doing a good chunk of damage to these boys in the process. Rainburst goes down to clear out the other group, breaking their leadership. Gorbad is able to use the gap to pursue those trolls and make sure they don't come back. Shaman, orc boys, and biggins easily handle their blue cousins. And in terms of Dusty, he's been over here fighting a wyvern the whole time. It's not been going well for him. Wyverns are hungry. As soon as we defeat this lord, we can confederate the rest of this faction here and hopefully bring in some pretty decent heroes, like this River Troll Hag shall be mine. Soon. We have to kill all her friends first. And our ogre mercenaries do a fantastic job of catching spells for us. Well done, boys. You will be remembered in, well, at least in song. We'll go ahead and eat these captives. Yum yum. If that's not the leader, it is. So this time we are actually going to go ahead and form a confederation, giving us access to... Oh, we have to take their units too? I don't like that. Can I just deny this? That's lame. Let's go ahead and grab Turge here. Happy to help. We can't afford all these armies, that's for sure.
Who needs stabbing?
So we'll take the big boss. Everyone else gets removed from existence. And then Turge, you as well. These trolls are intriguing. We'll probably just keep the war boys. We'll kick out the rest of our ogre bulls here. Bring this giant river troll hag, join Gorbad's army, and then Turge here is going to go ahead and get the boot because none of his forces are either squigs or savage orcs, so we need none of it. Goodbye, good sir. We pick up a couple of heroes and a tier 3 settlement. That's not bad at all. We've got the boar sty here, which is not savage orcs, so we're going to ignore that. And that's also not savage orcs, so destroyed. We build the gathering. It begins. Dragonhorn mines and the Bitterstone mine. Let's go ahead and keep the Musta fields. No, I lied. We don't need that. No Musta fields. Destroy both, and we'll replace them with growth and or goblin buildings. So we can get our nasty skulkers. Ah, an orc cracker emerges. I didn't think orcs came in other colors besides green. Brutal business is so good for us. Extra weapon strength for all the orcs. Rebellion has popped up. We've got some ogres that are also not going to be a threat. And those gits need to move their legs faster.
Suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Alright, let's come on over and do some raiding as we continue to jump back and forth
Boss of them night goblins.
between these two provinces here.
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this.
I'm gonna enjoy this. The Night Goblin enjoying Kevin. And then, yeah, the Bitterstone mine camp is no more.
Tell the boys.
Sorry, ogres. It was always going to end like this. The chunky ones fall, we slaughter them all for experience and get lead to charge. Which is fantastic. Here's the plan, gives us more research rate and experience gain faction-wide. Then we give boys to the front. So that way all of our melee infantry faction-wide gets more attack, defense, and weapon strength. Here in Ekron, we'll go ahead and pop in the ditches, that way we don't lose the settlement. Under siege. And then we'll also pick up the boss's tent for a bit more control. Upgrade our Savage Orc building, and we have pretty decent control of the Badlands now. With our conquest of the Western Badlands complete, now we can focus on building up our extremely sneaky, devastating flanker Savage Orcs. Meanwhile, Kevin and his squigs are going to come on down south and conquer Kadak 8 Peaks and as much of the Badlands as possible. Once we can get a secondary army, they're going to join Kevin in that process, because we'll need them against the Skaven for sure. Clan Moore is going to be a big threat from the south, as well as Scarbrand if he manages to survive. We'll try to stay friends with the other ogres, as we then send Gorbat up through the Blood River with his Savage Orc Special Forces to lay siege to the Empire. Our second episode will conclude once we have destroyed Wissenland and Nuln proper. Thanks all for stopping on by. If you enjoyed this video, please do remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub thumb, and even hit that hype button. Helps the channel out, and I appreciate it a ton. I'll see you all fine folk in the next one.